close here this morning. Hadn't the Lord blessed us here today? Have you really enjoyed worshiping God with the sun rising and listening to Brother Stewart talk to us about how we're resurrected, and Brother Harrison, and then Brother Rhodes leading us into Because He Lives? But before we close, I just want to leave us with, or just want to finish up with this song. But most of all, I want to thank God for being able to serve Him again today. I just appreciate Him. I do. I'm appreciative of the Lord. As I sit here this morning and I reminisce about, I was looking at this complex here. When I came here as a child, I was 4 or 5 years old when I came here, and I'm just 39. I'm still in my teens, so I got a lot of life to live ahead of me. So. But I'm so thankful that God brought us here. Come on. In many places I could have been today, I've seen people come, I've seen people go. I've seen a lot of people come through these doors, those doors. I remember when the doors were here. And we had to, I think we had to enter there, didn't we? But I began to think about it. Lord, you did give me a resurrection in my soul. I was dead in my trespasses and sins. I could have been out there today living a life this morning, waking up on a beautiful Easter morning. No telling where I would have woke up. I could have woke up in a drunken state. I could have woke up with drugs in my system. I could have woke up in many, many places. No, in jail this morning, in prison this morning, but I didn't. I woke up being able to lift my hands freely, knowing that Jesus Christ arose in my life. I remember as I sat here and listened to the brethren, and my soul goes back to all the brothers that have crossed my life and all the people that have touched my life since the Lord has brought us here. I began to thinking about Brother Frank Slyman, one of the most remarkable men in my life. He was Brother Frank was one of the men that changed my life forever. I remember him talking to me on a job one day, and my dad had made me go with him, and I didn't really want to go to work that day, and because everybody else was out and all the kids were doing what they do, and my dad said, you need to go help Brother Frank Slyman. He needs some help. And I think we were building his house right down here, and because he needs some help. And I said, but Dad, all the other guys, they're going to go to the beach, or we were doing something. And he said, no, he said, that brother needs your help. I thought, well, good, I'll get paid. The guy's going to pay me. But it wasn't all about the pay. It was about knowing that Jesus Christ was there at that present moment. It was about maybe 4 or 5 months before I graduated. I don't even know if we was building his house, though. I know we were doing something at his house, which was right up here on the water. And it was about 4 or 5 months before I graduated. And I knew that if I didn't have to change my life by then, I was probably going down a road of destruction. But Brother Frank Slyman, God, he knows exactly what He's doing in your life, doesn't He? I went down there one day, and I spent I think maybe even 10 hours helping him do something at his house. But the whole time I'm standing there doing something at his house, this man is preaching the gospel to me. He's preaching the gospel to me. I didn't come to hear this man. I didn't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But at the end of the day, he left, and I thought, well, he reached out his hand, and I thought, man, there's some money in that hand. But there wasn't a bit of money in that hand. There was the love of God that he reached out, and he put his arms around me. And he said, I just want to tell you I love you. And I thought, as a young man, 17 years of age, I thought, that's all I get? I just get you love me? But He gave me more than that, Brother Rhodes. Come on, sir. He gave me the gospel. Yes. He began to tell me that Jesus Christ arose in my life. He began to tell me how I could live a life of freedom, and I could live a life of don't worry about tomorrow because Jesus Christ holds tomorrow. You just live for Christ today. And he began to tell me all of these things. And Now I remember why. I remember a man, Brother Charles Blunt, when I was in the bottom of a hole one day about 25 feet deep, and he was up there and he was working on that machine, and he began to dig and he began to dig, and a man was just giving me what for, son? I'm telling you what, giving me what for. I was 22 or 23 years of age, and the man was just, we used to carry these shovels about 3 foot long, and man, by the midday, I wanted to wallop this guy over the head with this short little shovel, and we all broke for lunch, and I piled out of the hole, and I was going to the truck, and I heard Uncle Charlie holler off that big old machine. He was big one with a big old 245. This thing was huge, man, and he hollered, "Hey, boy." Now, man, you know I'm already mad, and you're going to call me boy, and it's lunchtime, and I'm ready to knock this guy over the head. So he pulls me over there and he gets me right by the back of my head, and he starts squeezing on my neck, and he said, "Just remember, the love of God is in your life." I said, "No, it ain't in my life right now, mister. I can promise you that." He said, "The love of God's in your life, boy." And he kept squeezing on the back of my neck, and I'm thinking, man, the love of God's fixing to come out. You don't stop squeezing on my neck. He said, "Just trying to tell you, the love of God's in your heart, son." I'm so far from the love of God, Uncle Charlie. He said, "I know, but come on back to the love of God." He said, "Why don't you love that guy?" Man, that guy don't go to church. I don't want to love that guy. And by the time it was over, I began to loving that man. Yep. And when we got back from lunch, I reached out there and I shook his hand. I said, "Hey, man, it's all good." And Uncle Charlie up there on that 245 just laughing as far as he could laugh. And when it was all over, the day was done, he said, "Go home with the love of God in your heart." And from that day forward, I always remembered that the love of God was in my heart. See, those very moments change your life. You never know what you're going to hear to change your life. Even this morning, as you said, "What did I hear to change my life?" You don't know what you heard to change your life. Just know that the resurrection of Jesus Christ is real. It's not a false pretense. It's not something that man created. It's not a book that they wrote. It's real. The resurrection and the burial, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ is real. So I appreciate him this morning, very early in the morning.